Grab your cup of coffee and get ready for el Cafecito Tempranito por NuevaEra.Radio.
Buenos días, good morning, and welcome to Cafecito Tempranito con Tayrin. Our special guest this morning is my leadership coach, the fabulous and amazing Stephanie Martinez, and she is with Empowered Leadership Consulting Group. And welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you. Love it.
So excited to have you here.
Yay. Yes, loving it. Love to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. And here with Nueva Era Radio, we want to make sure that we are always interviewing the Latina entrepreneurs and leaders. And you are based out of Chicago, Illinois. How's the weather over there?
Freezing cold. I think we're at like -10.
Ooh. Yeah, here in Buffalo, it's been pretty crazy this week. A few storms. We had a storm last weekend. And then now this week has been a few in and out. So it's been pretty crazy. I do want to mention we had our Buffalo Bills game last Monday and we beat the Steelers. Yay!
Woohoo!
They had to dig out the stadium, but they did it.
Oh, I'm sure. All that snow.
Yep. And then we'll be playing KC tonight. So I'm excited about that and excited to mainly have you here on board. For those of you who do not know and who are listening in, so Stephanie is my leadership coach who was linked with me through the MTB Emerging Entrepreneurship class that I take at UB, which is an amazing program for those who are entrepreneurs here in Western New York and are interested in taking that class. They start usually in September. And so I had the opportunity to be able to be accepted into this program and be able to participate and meet amazing individuals like Stephanie. So I want our listeners to hear all about what Empowered Leadership Consulting Group. Can you tell us a little bit of what you do with the group?
Yeah. So Empowered Leadership Consulting Group is a company I formed, and it was meant to really work with individuals, leaders, entrepreneurs who really want to explore, the challenges that they're facing and how to position themselves for success in any situation, no matter what that is, from self-awareness to leadership development to transitioning into a leadership role or transitioning out. So I offer my services through a one-on-one coaching basis, really to get into some of those issues that they may have.
And it's needed. Our entrepreneurs and leaders definitely need that leadership coach. A lot of times we don't realize what things are triggering us or what things makes us react a certain way. So having somebody guiding us like yourself helps us get away of our own ways, right? One thing I heard a commentator say 2 weeks ago at the Buffalo Bills game was talking about Josh Allen, right? That sometimes what they're watching is not necessarily the rest of the team, but watching Josh Allen against Josh Allen. And it's same thing with us, right? We have to be those individuals who are looking at what we're doing and challenging ourselves and reviewing the tape, just like how these Buffalo Bills players do, of what we're doing and what we're not doing in order to elevate our own selves.
That's well said. I mean, we all have to take a step back and really evaluate what are we doing well and what are we not doing well, and what do we need to continue to do and what can we focus on as opportunities for development.
Absolutely. That's exactly why one of the reasons why I started Latinas Evolving, was to help in the word itself, evolving, right? Always evolving, always looking at what is going on so that you can know what is the next level you're going to go to or need to get to or want to get to. And I think it's important for people to know too that sometimes taking a step back is not necessarily bad. Sometimes it's taking a step back is needed in order for you to move forward.
Exactly.
One of the things I wanted to discuss with you, because with Empowered Leadership Coach, I know that you talk about the different processes, and we've gone through this myself as a leader, and I understand that there is value and worth with the process and in elevating as well and leveling up to that and self-awareness. So can you tell me a little bit more about that aspect of things, of how entrepreneurs can help themselves, or look into resources or individuals like yourself to help them understand their value and worth.
Yeah. So when I'm coaching a client, number one thing is we want to take time to really understand who they really are. And like you said, it's an opportunity to step back and be more self-aware of, what makes them unique? What are their
Mm-hmm.
strengths that they're bringing to the table? What are the derailers to success? And with that, what triggers them? You mentioned that as well, because if we don't know our triggers, we don't have that awareness of how to stop that reaction from proceeding and potentially damaging some relationships. And then we have
Mm-hmm.
to look into those things that we value. What are the values that we were brought up with as we were growing up? What are those values turned into as we've become adults? What motivates and drives us? Because that will change what kind of career path you go on. That changes what kind of organizations you look at, and then really diving into what you're passionate about. Because sometimes we're stuck in a job that we really don't love, but we
Mm-hmm.
just do it because it's, um, you know, I got to pay the bills, or, this is what I need to do right now because of, I've got kids to take care of and daycare and all these other things. And we may not really be thinking about our passions or realizing that they could be a reality. And then, figuring out where am I really seeing the most challenge and what do I need to address right now? And I feel through, that process of, self-awareness, and as we start going into discovery, it really helps the individual understand, what companies and jobs are going to be a good fit for them. It helps them establish and build better relationships with others, and not just the people we work with, but the people that we live with, our kids,
Mm-hmm.
our families. And then we're also able to really hone in on what are the critical areas that they want to work on to become their best self at work
Mm-hmm.
and in life. And what I would say, Tyrene, is, even if you don't feel your best right now, like you're starting a new year, maybe you're starting it off with high hopes. Others may not be feeling the same way. They may have a lot of issues that are coming at them, but you can start manifesting that new energy, those new goals, those new accomplishments, just by changing your mindset to a growth mindset and starting those small habits. We were talking about, going to the gym. That
Mm-hmm.
manifests a new type of energy. I'm increasing my endorphins. Maybe I'm generating new ideas as I'm at the gym. Um,
Yes.
Similar to what I was doing today. I was working out and I was like, ooh, there's other things I want to say that I think is going to be beneficial to others. Maybe you've started a gratitude journal, and that could
Mm.
start manifesting a new energy as you practice that every day. Or you figure out, like, there's a great project I'm working on and I'm feeling really passionate about it. And people are now seeing you show up in a different way. And that's really powerful.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. I love that. I love that you're talking about, there's a few things that you said in there. So talking about our families and the fact that we are, I don't want to say managing, but we're also assisting our family members, right? So we have teenagers in the house, or example, I have an 18-year-old. And that's an adult. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
only guiding myself or helping myself, but I also have to guide this other adult in my household as well, as he is navigating life. And I had this conversation with him the other day that, hey, listen, just because I'm the parent, I'm not perfect either.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also an adult. You are the first 18-year-old, the first adult in my life that I am helping guiding as well. So understand that I'm also not perfect. I'm human, and I'm not always going to approach things the way you want me to approach them. I'm learning as we both go. And I think that that also opens up the eyes of our children and those around us to acknowledge that we are human beings and that we also will make mistakes. Um, and people are probably listening to this like, how does this have anything to do with manifesting wealth? But manifesting wealth is not just about money.
Mm-hmm.
It's also about just living a wealthy lifestyle that is healthy for us,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's with money included, obviously, but having a financial stability to be able to provide for your family in a way where you're not sacrificing your happiness.
Right. And what you talked about was very powerful because I'm a single parent myself, and
Mhm.
I had a really hard time being vulnerable in front of my daughter, and that's what you're talking about, vulnerability.
Mhm.
And I was just focused on, I just got to go, I just got to get things done. When she was little, just go, 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 and I
Mhm.
didn't stop and understand the value when I was younger of explaining the why.
Mhm.
Why am I acting this way? Why am I making these decisions for her when she was young? And she needed to know that. And our relationship, you talked about, and having an 18-year-old, my daughter's 26, and
Mhm.
you know, we've we continue to grow and establish our relationship because I'm letting her know, like, these are the reasons why things frustrate me. And, here's why I'm doing it, because I care about you, because I want you to have all the success in the world, because I want you to be happy. And once you start explaining some of the whys behind your decisions, it completely opens those doors, and those
Mhm.
relationships grow and flourish. And again, that's more value and worth because you've got this support network that you care
Mhm.
about that needs to be stable in order for you to continue to reach that self actualization. Like, you think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You talked
Mhm.
about the financial wealth as, kind of that safety, that first level of Maslow's hierarchy. Do I have money? Do I have a roof over my head? And do I have food in my refrigerator? But little by little, you're getting those other things like belonging and those
Mhm.
relationships before you can reach, where you were really meant to be. So you're all putting all of those pieces together, which I think is so critical.
Yeah, absolutely critical. And for those of you who are listening now, you're tuning in to Cafecito Tempranito con Tayrin, and we are here with our special guest Stephanie Martinez from Empowered Leadership Consulting Group, and we're talking about manifesting wealth, but all the things that come with that, in order to make sure that you are manifesting a wealthy lifestyle for yourself that fits your needs and what you want for your life and whatever that definition is for you, when it comes to wealth.
Hmm.
Um, so one of the things that I also saw here, that I was looking at was a quote that you and I had discussed, and you had mentioned about saying put your mask on first before helping others. And if you run out of oxygen, you can't help anyone else. I was talking to Heidi Romer, sorry, and she mentioned a quote relating something similar about understanding that there is a support system out there to help us, especially as entrepreneurs, especially as leaders, not not limiting ourselves to just us trying to do everything ourselves, and understanding we have that support system. So when we are open and vulnerable with our kids or with who else is around us, then that creates a support system for us that we needed, that we didn't realize that we could have tapped into,
Hmm. Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Because we're not being vulnerable with them, and if we're not telling them we're human, we're not telling them that this is our why, then how will they know? They can't read our minds.
Hmm.
So it's a way for us to manifest as well the support system that we need in order to get to manifesting the wealth and the lifestyle that we want for ourselves and our relationships that we want. So I love that we talked about that before. Um, any thoughts on that part?
Yeah, so when you think about putting your mask on first before helping others, it's all about, you know, am I going to put my own self-development first as well? Because,
Mm-hmm.
many of us face this, and, women especially, we put our own development on the back burner because it's just our nature. We want to help others. We want to put other people first. We take care of people. I know, I've been in human resources for the past 20 plus years. And I feel like I'm always not, taking care of others. I'm taking care of the organization. I'm taking care of their people, their leaders. And that nature of putting everybody else first leaves my tank pretty empty.
Mm,
And if you like in that saying, if you run out of oxygen, you can't help anyone else, right? And you
mhm,
get to that point where you're burned out, you don't have all those fresh ideas popping into your heads. You struggle with getting up in the morning, and if you're that burned out, you can't help your teams, you can't help
mhm,
your clients, you can't help the organizations you work for. You're not going to be at your best. And so that's where I think it's a critical decision to kind of say to yourself, do I really want to take some time out to put myself first? And
mhm,
and that's when a coach can really be beneficial. When I'm working with a client, I'm 100% focused on that individual, their development. What do they need? What's keeping them up at night? What strategies aren't working? And why aren't you feeling confident in this moment? And with that undivided attention that I'm giving to that individual, it really helps them focus on their direction, and we start talking about goals and strategies. And I'm there along that journey with them to hold them accountable, to be an objective party, someone they can talk to in a very safe space and share information that they can't share with coworkers and others, because God only knows what that perspective might place on them. um,
mhm,
and I've also worked in a lot of different organizations, lots of different industries, and I know the political ramifications different decisions can make and how we are perceived in those organizations. So I
mm,
really try to work with those individuals to focus in on that so that we don't lose sight of their development and their accomplishments. And little by little, they start feeling different and they start seeing themselves in a new way, and they feel more confident in some of the things that they weren't confident in before. And that
mhm.
transformation really starts to happen.
I agree, and I am a testament to your work. You working with me. You're definitely, when you are having a conversation with me, you are having a conversation just with me. Yeah,
Mhm.
I've never ever noticed you looking at anything else or attentive to anything else. Your conversation has always been focused solely on what we are talking to and on our goal. And so, thank you for that. Thank you for being that type of leader, that type of coach that really focuses on the person that they're talking to, because you do have, there are other individuals out there, there are in your type of position, that may not do the same.
Mm.
And when we are working with those type of individuals who are not giving us their sole undivided attention, that can be discouraging to us, because then we don't feel heard, we don't feel seen, in the way I have felt seen and heard by you.
Oh, well, that's wonderful to hear, and I'm glad I could be that person for you. I know when we were working together, I just saw, the person you started off with, kind of being in that role that you didn't feel completely seen and
Mm-hmm.
heard or valued, in
Yeah.
many different ways. And then all of a sudden, as you started to have these meetings and conversations and different activities, whether it was for your job search or your business of Latinas evolving, and all of these things, all these different actions you were taking and different meetings you were having were starting to give you some different energy. And
Mm-hmm.
I could see you changing little by little, and you had things that you said were non-negotiable. Like, this is what I need to have in order to be happy. This is what I need to have for myself. This is what I need to have for my family. And you truly stuck by that list as you were going after different opportunities, and everything was aligned to your brand
Mm-hmm.
and your passions and what excites you. And I think that's where everything, in my opinion, started to change for you. And I saw you completely transform. And like the happiness came across your face and you were so excited. And I just saw a completely different energy in you.
Thank you. You're gonna make me tear up. Yeah, I would say I kind of talked a tiny bit about this last week, but sometimes we things happen in our lives, right? Whereas on a personal level or a business level, whatever the case may be, sometimes situations happen and we think that it's a curse or that we think that it's something that's a problem in our lives. And sometimes that same exact situation is a blessing in disguise.
Mm.
A lot of times, God, the universe, is showing us where we don't need to be. And it's
Mm-hmm.
telling us what we need to do in order to get out of that situation. And sometimes we're not listening. It's sort of like when you're dating somebody and you're seeing all the red flags, but you're ignoring all the red flags and you keep on the relationship
Yes.
until something boom happens. And then you're like, why didn't I just end this at red flag number one?
Yes.
When I seen the first red flag come up. It's sort of the same way, like things happen and things are coming and you're starting to get stressed out. So example, if it's at a job, you're starting to get stressed out. You're not happy anymore. You're sacrificing your happiness. You're sacrificing all these things because maybe you do need to provide for your family. Maybe you need to maybe you can't resign right away because obviously maybe you don't have savings or you don't have that opportunity. But at that moment, immediately, the moment that starts happening, you should be taking a step back to say, okay, so what do I need to change in order for me to be happy, in order for me to be in a position where I want to work? And that's something that I had to realize. There were a
Mm-hmm.
whole bunch of red flags for me that were happening that I wasn't listening to. I would complain about it, but I wasn't doing anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it got to the point where something personal happened, but that personal thing had to happen in order to kind of rip the band-aid off my eyes or off my life in a way, in order for me to say, okay, enough is enough. I can't no longer sacrifice my happiness because now this has officially taken a toll on me.
Mm-hmm.
I need to change it. And how is that going to change? And then I think the biggest kicker for me that you helped me out with a lot, and for those words that were supporting me, was that for some reason there was a shift in my mindset where I knew everything was going to work out. I
Mm-hmm.
saw it. I felt it. Everything is going to work out. I have to take this step. I have to take a leap of faith that I know that my finances are going to change. I have no idea how this is going to work, but I know it's going to, and something is going to give in. And when I shifted that mindset into trusting the universe, into trusting God, whatever it is that anybody believes in, when shifting that mindset that it was going to work out, it was like all of a sudden the universe opened up for me. All these doors opened up for me that were coming to me. I didn't even
Mm-hmm.
have to even go to it or go looking for it. And that was a huge play in my manifesting wealth and my manifesting of the lifestyle that I wanted to live. And what exactly how that would transform for me. And it has, and it transformed for me exactly how I wanted it, exactly how I needed it, in order for me to be a more present parent, in order for me to be more present for myself and to put myself first, no longer sacrificing my happiness. Because when we sacrifice, especially as Latina women, as women, period, we tend to, like you said, not putting that oxygen mask on first for ourselves. We tend to put everybody else first. So by putting
Mm-hmm.
everybody else first, that's when we're sacrificing all the things that we should be doing for ourselves first. Um, and it's just like how there's that saying that, a happy wife, happy home. Well, happy mom, happy home, happy me, happy home. So it's the same thing. We need to make sure we're instilling that. So thank you for that. And for those tuning in, again, we are here at Cafecito Tempranito con Tayrin, with our special guest, Stephanie Martinez from Empowered Leadership Consulting Group, talking about manifesting wealth. Um, and as we're winding down to our last few minutes of our show, Stephanie, I want you to talk to me. Talk to me about what else, how does manifesting wealth, how has that transpired in your life, or what else do you want to talk about that that pertains to that?
Yeah, well, number one, I just want to say your summary was just powerful. I mean, that speaks volumes to what coaching can do for you. And a lot of it's bringing those accomplishments to light. You know, we talk about your goals
Yeah.
and what you've accomplished, and you start seeing that and appreciating it because many times, you know, again, as single parents or individuals, we're just rushing through life just trying to get things
Mm-hmm.
done, and we don't take that time to reflect. What have I put
Mm-hmm.
energy into and what am I getting energy out of? And what's serving me and what's not serving me? And really making intentional decisions around those things. So I really believe that, you know, when you're manifesting wealth, it's because you're working on yourself and you're
Yes.
confidently positioning yourself in a role where you were meant to do. You were meant to do that work, and that's aligning wealth to you. And you'll see that money will naturally follow you because your energy is going to change. You're going to start attracting more opportunities that really align with who you are and what you love. You know, there's that
So
famous
true.
quote, you know, do what you love and you'll never work another day in your life because you're
Mm-hmm.
just gonna love it because you've taken all the steps to work on yourself, but you've also understood what's really serving you and you're only pursuing those things that are serving your best interests in life and work, etc. So you know, I would say just for individuals listening, take the time to really know what makes you unique. Take the
Mm-hmm.
time to know what makes you tick so you can pursue what you're really passionate about. And it's feasible for all of us, and it may show up in different ways. You know, sometimes things show up as, you know, I'm just going to do this as my side hustle until I can do it full time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So true.
So true.
Yeah, everything you said, it's on point. And you mentioned about talking to our children about our why, and it's not even just our children, but everybody when you have, especially when you have a business, always keeping that as your center point, as the point where you know that that is the reason why you started this, especially as you grow. When you grow, sometimes you have a tendency to forget why you started it and what's the point of it all. So if it's to leave a legacy for your kids, don't forget that. Don't forget
Mm,
that the reason that you're doing this is to leave a legacy for your kids, or maybe it's to provide a service for your community. But never forgetting your why, because by putting your why first is how the money will come in easily. It's essential. You will notice that in many businesses that do not flourish are those businesses that are not keeping their why at their forefront. They're not keeping the community at their forefront, and it's evident in how their business grows or doesn't grow.
exactly. I mean, Simon Sinek has a book out. It's called Start with Why. It's a great
Mm-hmm.
book, talks all about that. I also love his podcast called A Bit of Optimism. Um, and, you know, you said it perfectly. You know, as an entrepreneur, I had to figure out, you know, what I was truly passionate about. And, you know, even though I had been in a career being in internal HR for many, many years, going out on my own and pursuing my own passions of leadership development, coaching others, you know, kind of pursuing people's highest potential and helping them find that was certainly a scary step to take in transitioning my career into a full focus on that. But I've got to tell you, it brings so much light and happiness into my life, seeing other people reach their true potential, seeing other people have the knowledge and skills and tools that they need to succeed. And that's really what gets me excited every day, you know, when I get to do this kind of work.
Yes, yes. And anybody, for last minute thoughts, Stephanie, how can anybody get a hold of you if they want to hire you or just have a consultation with you to talk about how you can help them?
Yeah, so you can go to my website. It's Empowered Leadership Consulting Group. So if you go to www.empowered, WEREDLCG.com, or you can call me at 708-415-4900, and I'd be happy to chat.
Yay! I'm so excited. And I'll make sure to put that in the caption once they send me over this information after our live, to make sure that anybody that misses this opportunity to hear us in this moment, that they can hear this recording tomorrow or the next day going forward, for anybody that we want to share this with. So thank you for all the listeners that have listened to this amazing individual. Thank you, Stephanie, for not only being such an amazing leadership person and consulting individual and entrepreneur, but being a friend, and for really inspiring and motivating me to also continue with that energy myself, right? A lot of times we have to also surround ourselves with the same type of mindset individuals that we need in order for us to move forward. We can't be surrounded by individuals that are going to bring us down and they're going to have negative, mentalities or negative energies. We need those same type of individuals that we want to move up with and that we want to move up like, in order for us to keep going forward. So
Great
thank
point.
you again. Yes.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been wonderful.
Yes. So thank you to all our listeners listening to Cafecito Tempranito con Tayrin, and go Bills.
Go Bills.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Take care.
Escucharon El Cafecito Tempranito, Sundays from 10 till 10:30 por NuevaEra.radio.